Remember that time your neighbors got into a screaming match and suddenly your whole block was caught in the crossfire? The tension was palpable and everyone was on edge. That's kind of what's happening between India and Canada right now, but on a much larger, more complex scale, except instead of passive-aggressive lawn care, we're talking international accusations, expelled diplomats, and a diplomatic crisis that's escalating by the day. It's like a good old-fashioned crime thriller plot, but with real-world consequences. At the heart of this diplomatic brawl is the assassination of a Sikh leader on Canadian soil, a shocking event that has sent ripples through both nations. Canada's pointing fingers at India, claiming they've got intel linking the killing to Indian agents. They say the evidence is compelling. India's firing back with a show-me-the-receipts attitude, calling the accusations baseless and demanding proof. Meanwhile, everyone's holding their breath because this isn't just a neighborhood squabble anymore. The stakes are much higher. This is about global power dynamics, international relations, the reach of organized crime and the influence it can wield. And now, two countries are teetering on the edge of a full-blown diplomatic meltdown, with the world watching closely. Let's talk about the Bishnoi gang, shall we? This isn't just any gang, it's one that has left an indelible mark on the criminal landscape of India. Imagine a Bollywood gangster flick, but instead of cheesy dialogue and choreographed fight scenes, it's all too real. The violence, the extortion, the fear, they're all part of the daily grind for this gang. This gang, with roots deep in India's underbelly, is notorious for extortion, violence, and a rap sheet longer than your arm. Their influence stretches from the slums to the high-rises, affecting every layer of society. Their leader, Lawrence Bishnoi, might be behind bars, but he's running the show like a puppet master pulling strings from his cell. His reach is so extensive that even incarceration can't stop him. And here's the kicker. Canada claims he's the key to the whole assassination plot. This international twist adds another layer of complexity to an already convoluted story. They say Bishnoi's gang operates with the blessings of some very powerful people in India. These are not just small-time crooks. They have connections that go all the way to the top. People who might have a vested interest in silencing dissenting voices, even if it means reaching across borders to do it. The stakes are incredibly high, and the players are ruthless. It's the kind of stuff that makes you wonder who's really calling the shots. Is it the gang leader behind bars, or the shadowy figures who pull the strings from behind the scenes? Hardeep Singh Nijjar, a Sikh leader living in Canada, was gunned down in broad daylight. It was a brazen attack, a message sent loud and clear. The Sikh community, both in Canada and around the world, was shaken to its core. Nijjar was a vocal advocate for an independent Sikh homeland, a stance that put him at odds with the Indian government. Now his supporters are demanding justice, and they're looking straight at India for answers. The assassination has become a flashpoint, igniting long-simmering tensions between India and Canada. It's a stark reminder that political conflicts often have very human costs. Section 4. Diplomatic fallout and government responses. Remember those expelled diplomats we mentioned? Yeah, things got real awkward, real fast. Canada kicked out a top Indian diplomat, basically saying, "We're on to you and we're not playing nice anymore." India, never one to back down, promptly returned the favor, expelling a Canadian diplomat in retaliation. It's a diplomatic game of chess, with each side making strategic moves and counter-moves. Official statements are dripping with thinly veiled accusations and denials. The world is watching, wondering if this is the start of a full-blown diplomatic war. Section 5. Geopolitical tremors and the spectre of organized crime. This isn't just a bilateral spat, it's sending shockwaves through the international community, affecting diplomatic relations and economic stability. Suddenly, everyone's paying attention to the growing influence of organized crime, particularly its ability to transcend borders and wreak havoc on a global scale. These criminal networks are becoming more sophisticated and harder to dismantle. The Bishnoi gang, with its alleged ties to powerful figures in India, has become a symbol of this unsettling trend. Their activities are not just a local issue, but a part of a larger, more dangerous pattern. It begs the question, are governments losing control of the very forces they're supposed to keep in check? The erosion of state power in the face of organized crime is alarming. The implications are chilling, and the world is watching closely to see how this high-stakes game of geopolitical poker plays out. The stakes have never been higher, and the outcomes are uncertain. Section 6. Public outcry and the quest for justice. In Canada, the Sikh community isn't staying silent. They're taking to the streets demanding justice for Nijar and accountability from both the Canadian and Indian governments. Protests are erupting, fueled by anger, grief, and a growing sense of distrust. They're demanding answers, transparency, and a commitment to ensuring that such a tragedy never happens again. The question is, will anyone be listening?